Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It is me, Momo. I am your friendly local neighborhood drag queen, and this is my very first makeup tutorial ever. I am titling it boldly. I'm gonna call it like I see it, y'all. This is how to do your drag makeup in 2025, okay? I've been doing drag for about 9 years. It'll be 9 years next month. And I've come a long way, trust me. I actually started learning how to do makeup from YouTube, from Instagram, and then later on being surrounded by other drag queens, seeing what they do. Now, I do my makeup all kinds of ways. My makeup routine is constantly changing. I'm trying new things. I'm constantly switching it up. A lot of trial and error. So this is just a culmination of what I've learned. If you like what you see and you're curious as to how I achieved a mug of this stature, then keep on watching. Okay, so let's begin. Before we get started on anything, you want to make sure that the foundation of everything you're about to do is set up for success. Make sure you are moisturized, okay, before we even use primers. As you can see, I already have my contact lenses in. I like to pop them in before. I don't know how people do it after makeup. Whatever works for you. So I like to use three different primers. First, I use the Milk Hydro Grip. This has been around for a minute. It still works in 2025. I like to put this one all over my face. In my opinion, this is great because it will grab anything that you put on your face. Nothing will smudge, nothing will slide. It's just, when it's on, it's on. The next primer I use is the One Size Secure the Blur. This just kind of causes a smoothing, blurring effect. I like to put this just in kind of the center area where my highlights are gonna go. The very last one that I use is the One Size Oil Sucker. So this is good for oil control. I have a tendency to get really, really oily around my nose, especially if I've been in drag for hours. I literally take like the smallest amount of this, and then I just put it right on this area. That's it for my priming situation. Primers work for some people and they don't work for some people. More importantly, just make sure you have a good skincare routine or regimen. All right, next step is going to be to cover our eyebrows. Make sure there is no oil in your brows whatsoever. I just go in. First I go with the grain, then I go against the grain. And then I take my used and abused spoolie. I should probably wash. I comb through. The main goal, you just want to make sure that they're flat and that the glue is all the way through there. And we're going to let that first layer dry. By the way, I am using the Elmer's washable school glue. It is the purple variant. I don't really know if that matters, but if a million drag queens swear by this, then there's probably a good reason. I'm going to take a makeup wipe and I'm going to go around the edges here just to make sure that things look smooth. I recommend doing this when it's dry. You're gonna take a translucent powder. Today we are using Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Translucent. A big powder puff like this. This one is used and abused. And then you're gonna take your glue stick and you could use like water, a water bottle, and like spray the top of this, or you could just use your tongue. And you're gonna go right over it like this, making sure it is a little wet. You don't want it too wet, but you want it like damp. Now, I think they make these for kids, so like they're pretty much edible. We're gonna take our powder puff while it's still damp, and you're gonna just tap it in like so. Tap it in, and then press. And lightly go over this, make sure there's no extra powder here. And that's it. They are covered. Through each step, it's gonna hide it more and more and more until you can't see it at all. So Trust the process. Now for foundation, I like to use two different foundations. I use the Dermablend Leg and Body. This is meant for your leg and body, but I use it on my face. It is super full coverage. I've been using this for years. Highly recommend. I also use a little bit of Born This Way, Too Faced Born This Way, just to give it a little bit more of a skin-like look. So I'm gonna put this, the Dermablend, around areas where I feel like I need fuller coverage. And I'm gonna take a little bit of Born This Way, just like one pump there, one pump there, and a teeny bit up there, and a teeny bit there. And I'm gonna take my big beauty blender. It's funny, this is also meant for like your body. And the reason why I have this big old blender is because it covers so much space in a short amount of time. Next, we're gonna contour the face with cream. Same brand, Too Faced Born This Way. If you are intimidated by cream contour, which I know a lot of people are, just remember that less is more. You can always add more if you feel like it's not enough. But also, just find a foundation in the similar brand or the same brand that you use. You could just use a darker shade. Sometimes foundations are easier to blend versus concealers. You have to work a little bit more quickly with a concealer. I'm gonna take this. I don't need a lot on my forehead. And then I put a dash here. So I like to put this from like my sideburn, my ear, the top of my ear, like going in the direction of the corner of my mouth. Just a little down here. Now I like to bring this up a little bit higher. I'm trying to eliminate my chin. I'm trying to erase it, girl. Contour is about manipulating light to create shadow. So where you want to hide something, where you want to change something, just think about that. So here, we're going to blend this out. We want the illusion of a more feminine forehead. So we want it to look smaller. We want to create the illusion that the center of our face is bright and the outsides are darker. So I try not to be too heavy on the contour here. And again, you want to work quickly with concealers. So once you're done with that, you want to take your foundation sponge and just go over some of the areas that need to be corrected and blended. I'm going to highlight now with concealer using the same brand, Too Faced Born This Way. I'm also going to be using a little bit of the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. Super full coverage. Now I'm gonna put a little here, highlight the chin, a little bit of the upper lip. I put just a dot there. Under the eyes, obviously. So we're doing drag, okay? So we're not doing these regular daytime fishy beats where they're like, you only need a little bit of concealer here and then here on the outside. That's all you need. No, these people came to see you do drag. Put it on. Put it on. So I like to start where there's like the least amount of product. So I go from the nose, here, here, under my eyes, and the forehead. Because this dries quickly, I like to correct as I go. Also, another note, when you're using like cream foundations and concealers, this is the part of the routine where you don't want to like emote too much. So you see how like this happens? If I do that too much, I'm gonna have to go back in and like smooth that out. So you want to be as relaxed as possible when you're doing this whole step. And I like to keep this line here right on the nose. And then for my forehead, I like to create kind of like a sunset shape. A lot of my wigs, the hairline is more round, so when that is in sync together, it just looks better. And I bring this all the way down to my eye where that connects, see? And whatever's left over, I do go over my eye with. If you need to go back in and blend some stuff out, go ahead and do that. Like I feel like I lost my color here. Bring some of that back. Contour meets the highlight. Blend that out. I see so many queens who don't do this, where your contour meets your highlight. Blend it together in 2025. Now is where I go in with the e.l.f. This is the last step. And I put this right here, just a little bit. And it's a little bit brighter because I like the way a bright under eye just it gets the face together. You know what I mean? If you want to bring it down the side of your nose too, I know a lot of girls do that. I take another Anastasia Beverly Hills powder in the shade Vanilla. I take a triangle shaped puff, and immediately before it starts to like crease, I go right in this area here under the eye. And I use this shade because it aids in the brightness that I am trying to achieve. But the rest of the face, we're gonna go right back with the translucent. Grab that big powder puff again, and this is where you beat your face. In 2025, we are still beating our mugs. You might be thinking, God, that's so much powder. And you're right, it is. But baby, we're not going to the DMV. We're not going to the gynecologist. We're hitting a stage, honey. So beat your mug. To restore my color back, I use a warm pressed foundation powder, something that's like a lot warmer than my actual skin tone, just to balance that kind of like white cast that comes from translucent powders. And when those two kind of meld together, like my color comes back. So I'm gonna go put on my tattoo brows and I will be right back. So the brows are on. Now I'm not just gonna leave them like this. I am gonna go in and fill in the ends here. I'm gonna use a NYX brow pen in the shade Brunette. And I'm going to fill in these edges here. But you wanna apply like strokes, creates like a more realistic brow. And I like a high brow. If I'm gonna cover my brow, they're gonna go as high as they can go. I like a little bit of drama on my face. And as long as they look similar, you're fine. You're good to go. So once that is on, I like to set it because if sweat gets there, they will melt. Ladies and gentlemen, what you came for, or what most people come for, is the eyes. Today, we are doing neutral colors. I like to use neutral colors 90% of the time because it matches with everything you're going to wear. If you're wearing like one look for the night, work. Put all the color in your face that you can find. But me, myself personally, I know I'm going to be in like 3 to 4 different looks today. So I need my face to match with every single one of them. So I like to use neutral colors, browns, warm browns. I'm using a Morphe palette. Is this Morphe? Yes, it is a Morphe palette. It's all neutrals here, as you can see. It's very loved down here. Black, dark brown, lighter brown, etc. I usually stay here and I stay here. Oh, wait, can you guys see that? Yeah, sorry, it's my first day. We're gonna use this white here under my eyebrow. Just take a flat brush like this. I'm not gonna tell you what number or brand, because I don't care. Just find a brush that looks similar and pack it on right underneath that brow. And this is gonna create the illusion of a brow bone. And it's also gonna make your brows pop. Make sure it's nice and packed in. Okay, take a big fluffy brush and you're gonna use a dark brown. First, I'm going to pack it in. Once I feel like it's packed in, I'm gonna start blending it back and forth motions and circular motions where I can. I know some people out there like to do one whole eye and then do the whole other eye afterwards. In my personal opinion, that would frustrate me because as soon as I finish one eye, I'm gonna be like, ugh, I gotta do it again. I wanna get it all done and out of the way. Now we're gonna take a smaller, fluffier brush, and we're gonna take a slightly lighter brown, that's like one shade lighter than this one, and just go over this edge here where it blends into the white. Pack it in first, and then blend. Just wanna marry these as much as possible. If you need to go back in with the white, go ahead. That is blending. Okay, once that's done, take like a really, really flat brush like this. If you want to load it with a little bit more concealer, you can. I don't set my eyelids, so it's still kind of tacky here. I usually just take what's left on my eye, gather that. This is going to wipe off most of the brown that you don't want here and create more of a line, as you can see. And you're going to take that same white color, pack it right there. And you have just created your new eyelid. You could take this as high as you want to. You can keep it on your actual eyelid. And towards the ends here, I just like to make sure it's set. So I just take whatever's left on here and sweep it on. Because eyeliner is going to go here, and putting wet eyeliner on like a tacky concealer it's not the move, I promise you. I'm going to take that lighter brown under the eye, and we're going to blend it in. And I'm going to take this really, really thin kind of pencil looking brush, go in with that dark brown, and I'm going to create a line here. I want to bring out my actual eye a little bit. We're creating a new eye line here. Make sure they are even. Now, since I already have this in my hand, I'm gonna do my nose contour. It connects with my eyes. So I'm like, here I might as well. Take that same white color and another pencil type of brush. We're gonna dab it there on the nose. And then we're gonna create a little bit of a bridge here. Nothing too crazy. I like to keep it just there, and I don't like to bring it down all the way. And I do this white tip here because it creates the illusion that my nose is flaring out. I'm gonna take a dark eyeshadow with that same little brush we just used for under our eye, and I'm gonna go right against the white here. Blend that right into the eye, and then a little bit there. You're gonna take another small fluffy brush, and I'm gonna use bronzer. This is Juvia's Place in the dark shades. They come with two. One is Very Loved, but they're very similar shades. One's just warmer and one is more neutral. Just blend, 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 blend. I like to take a little bit under the nose here, just to kind of tie it all together. I know it looks kind of harsh now. My nose is the oiliest place on my face, and this will actually be the first thing to start fading over time. Okay, so I'm going to take black eyeliner. I use NYX, the Epic Ink eyeliner, felt tip pen, and I'm going to go right over this line I created, and I'm going to bring this in. That's about as far in as I'm going to bring it. So the trick with eyeliner, you want to take your time, but don't take too much time. So you see how the eye just needs something to sit on? That's how I like to look at it. So I'm just going to bring this up, and I'm going to connect it here, connect it there, and then do this. And then from here, bring it down. Now with this eye, I do this eye first because this eye gives me the most problems. And I draw it on this way. This eye, I go this way. My strategy with these eyeliners is always to create the shape first and then fill it in. And as I said before, with eyeliner, you just gotta go for it. So once your eyes are on, I like to check and make sure that they're as even as possible. I like to look at myself like this and like this. So I'm just taking, you could use any brush really. This is like one I designate for black eyeshadow. I like to set, especially where my eye like rolls. So now we are actually gonna wipe this away. Just to finish off the eye, we're gonna take more of that white color and we're gonna pack it like right here and out here. All right, last step with the eyes, I promise, besides eyelashes, which I do later. We're gonna take this really bright white in this Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. There's like this really, really bright white color here. I like to put just a smidge of this in certain places, not too much. And here, I like to put a little smidge on my nose. Putting that white in certain places just gives the whites we put down more intensity. All right, so next we're going to cover our cream contour areas with bronzer, using that same bronzer that I showed you earlier. Now first, I'm gonna start with the cheek, and I'm gonna use a piece of paper there. Just pack it on. This step is what is going to warm up your contours and your face in general. And the rest of my face, I don't need that paper. We can just go right in. Get the forehead and underneath the jaw. For bronzer, I was using this. It's shaped to like cut into the cheek, which is why I like it. Once that's done, I like to use blush. I've been into like orange blushes lately. This is also Juvia's Place, volume 6, it says, but it's just orange. Get a good amount on a blush brush, and I like to poke it on like this. I'm trying to create lift on my face. My natural cheeks sit lower on my face, so I like to create lift. If you put blush and contour and things more up here, it's going to create the illusion that things are lifted. If you want to create more of like a youthful appearance, you would put blush more so like here, but I'm already young, so I don't need that. All right, once that's on, I'm going to take one of the browns from the eyeshadows I was using, take it on this smaller fluffy brush, and just kind of intensify just the cheek contour, since it does get lost under blush sometimes. And then whatever's left over on your puff, just take that and carve it right underneath. Leave that there for a second. I'm going to use a white pressed powder. This is from One Size. I'm going to take a brush that looks like this and get some on there. And I'm only gonna stamp it here. So like where I put that bright concealer earlier, as soon as I hit that stage, I need it to beam. And I do put a little bit here just to marry the whole eye area. I'm gonna take this brush that I use to wipe off powders, blend the blush and this white powder. And then that same brush we used earlier to bring the color back to our face, and go over any areas that you want to be blended. All right, y'all, so we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm gonna do my lips. So take that makeup wipe that we had earlier and clean what is on your lip. I used to use the MAC lip prime. I wanted to try out the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip primer, and I actually like this better. And you just wanna go over your lips. I'm going to stick with the brand and use Anastasia Beverly Hills. Why is that such a mouthful? I use the shade Sunbaked because it's the closest to the inside of my lip color. I like to use a cream lipstick first. Now I'm gonna take a lip liner. I'm gonna use MAC in the shade Chestnut. We're gonna go here. So for my lips, I like to overdraw the top lip. The bigger your lips look in proportion to your face, it's gonna feminize your face. And what we're not gonna do in 2025 is neglect our lips. It is an important part of the face, and I feel like so many queens rush through it because it's always like typically the last step. We're lip syncing, we're talking to people. People are looking at our mouths. Why would you not give it attention? I'm gonna take this Sephora lipstick. It's like a brown shade, and I'm gonna go right over that brown. This warms it up. If you need to clean up any part of your lip, do that with a concealer brush. I like to take whatever's left on this big powder puff and set the edges here, just so that they don't move. And last step, I use a liquid lipstick, another Anastasia similar to that pink lipstick we used. And then just work it in. I like to use a brush as well. We use 4 different lipsticks. I don't know, maybe I'm extra. We need our beauty marks. Just a little beauty mark. As far as setting my face, I like to use 2 different setting sprays. I like to use this Makeup Revolution one. This one's more wet. I like to use the One Size on Till Dawn. And this one is more like of a dry setting spray. You're gonna have your highlighter brush ready. I'm using this fanned out brush that looks like that. And you're gonna have your highlighter, whatever you're gonna use. That's the glitter and the sparkle. You're gonna have that ready. Shake, 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 shake. You don't wanna be like up here, far away. Not too much. The girls out there go crazy. This actually like melts the makeup on your face. Low key, high key. We're gonna put a little here, a little shimmer before it dries. This you gotta work quick. A little here, and then a little there. Last but not least, use the dry setting spray. And I promise you, your face will not go anywhere. So for lashes, I like to use the Duo, the black variant of Duo. And I put 2 layers on the strip here. I use lashes that I've stacked. So these are 2 of like the same lashes. I usually let these dry for like a full 2 minutes. While that's drying, I'm gonna use eyeliner to darken my eyelashes. I don't like using mascara personally. I don't like the texture. As long as your lashes look dark, you should be fine. Once they are dry, pop it right on where you would like it. I typically like it right on my lash line until the very end here. I like to bring it up. And voila! Our drag face is on. She's ready for the stage. She's ready for a wig. She's ready for a dress. She's ready to collect those dollar bills. So this is the finished product. This is the mug. I think it's giving. I think it's eating. I think it's great. It's amazing. That is my delusion and my fantasy, and no one's gonna tell me otherwise. But let me know what you think. Did you learn something? I hope you did. Whether you do drag or not, you're just fascinated by it, or maybe you just do regular makeup and you learned a thing or 2. Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. And subscribe because I will be releasing more makeup related videos. With that said, I am running late as per usual, so I need to get to work. I guess I'll just see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and goodbye. Mwah.